Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Oh gosh, are we going to start out that way already? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Peter Lamb. I'm the chair of the board of directors for the College of Dietitians of BC. I think I know most of you out there, and for those I haven't met yet, I hope to have the opportunity to meet you this afternoon sometime after our board meeting, where we can get a chance to just network with each other after the AGM. I think for most of you, this may be one of your first AGMs. If it's that, we welcome you for the first time. If it's not, we welcome you back and we thank you for coming here today. I'd like to just do some introductions first so you get to know who the board members are who are in attendance today. So when I call your name, would you please stand up and just say hello to everyone? We have Marlene Davis, elected dietitian member from Vancouver Island.
Hello.
Okay. Maria Dedegikas, elected registered dietitian member from Vancouver Coastal. Okay. And then Glenn Kisman, who is our past chair from Interior North. Adrian Kernshaw, standing right here in his beautiful nautical wear. Adrian's an appointed public representative. Then we have Heather Martin, who is our vice chair and elected.
Island Health Authority Video Conferencing Center.
Okay, we've got Victoria coming on board.
Please enter the last 3 digits of the conference ID and press the
Just keep going.
I'm supposed to keep going. Okay. So may I introduce next Bunsy Pagely. Bunsy is back there, and Bunsy is an appointed public representative. And Diana Stevenson, may I have you stand? Yeah, Diana Stevenson is an appointed public representative. And then finally we have Robin Watt, elected RD member from Interior North. So it's wonderful that we have our entire board of directors here today. So feel free to talk to any of us about any of your questions or concerns. Okay? So next thing I'd like to do is just to let you know that the proceedings for the AGM are outlined in our bylaws. This is my blah, blah, blah because I have to do. Okay? And the quorum for this meeting is supposed to be 20 registrants. And let me bring you back to the year 2004 when we held our very first AGM. And I almost feel like we have to give this lady a prize because she was our 20th registrant to walk through the door. Barb Tinskamper walked in the door to be the 20th registrant so we could hold our first AGM. So thank you for being back here, Barb. But I wanted people to know that for this particular AGM, 109 people pre-registered, which is pretty good. Must mean we're doing something interesting, right? Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to say hello to the people in Prince George. Hello.
Prince George seems to be gone.
Oh, Prince George is gone. Okay. Well, we'll say hello to. Oh, thank you, Comox. Hello, Comox.
Can you?
And I think that's Victoria, right? Hello, Victoria. Okay, so they're coming in. Wonderful. We wanted you to know that the AGM is held every year, usually in the spring season. But this year we've had to hold our AGM a little later in the year because I think most of you know our office went through a bit of a move. Okay? And things were just a little too chaotic for us to be holding an AGM at that time. So thank you for your patience, and that's why we're here today for this AGM. The AGM gives us an opportunity to provide you with the information about what the college has been doing. And again, the college is here to serve you, and we want to be very transparent about all the things that we're doing. And you'll hear reports from us today about what kinds of activities have been going on. We are scheduling ourselves to complete the AGM by 3:45, which is a very ambitious goal, but we'll do our best. Okay? So the first thing I would like to ask is for approval of the agenda. If there are no other agenda items that people want to bring in for the AGM today, we'll ask that the agenda be approved just by consensus of people either nodding their heads or just not saying anything. Is that all right? Okay, so moving on here. Approval of the October 23rd, 2009 minutes. It's in your package, it's been handed out to you. Wondering if there are any errors or omissions? Okay, hearing none. I'd like to have somebody move that the minutes of the October 23rd, 2009 meeting be approved as circulated.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Mary, thank you very much. Moved by Mary. Seconded, all in agreement? Anybody opposed? No, thank you. Carried. Now we're going to move to the annual report for our meeting today. So, as circulated in the package, there are reports from the board, there are reports from each of the committees that are in the college, and each of these will be reported on by the committee chairs. So to start off with, I'm supposed to report to you what our board's been doing since April of last year, no, actually April of the previous year to March of 2010. It feels like so long ago, right? I'd like to first of all thank Glenn Kissman, who was our chair during that time, and I'm reporting on his behalf at this point in time. Okay. So the reports are actually in your packages. I think for the sake of trying to expedite the meeting, I'm wondering if anybody has any questions with regards to the strategic initiatives and the work that the board's been doing in the 5 areas that's been identified. Okay, for those not familiar, we did a 3-year strategic plan back in 2007, and what we wanted to do was make sure that we were completing some of these strategies to move the college forward. And you'll see that some of the things we did were that the board has been working on making changes to possible restricted activities, looking at the certification needs for those registered with restricted activities, looked at some collaborative work with the Dietetic Education and Practice group, and piloting that competency self-assessment process called CSAP. There's so many acronyms these days in terms of the projects that we're doing. But it's all highlighted in here, and I'm wondering, again, I just asked if anybody has any questions about this. Okay. If not, at this point, I think I'll call Fern up to just give us a quick report on the registrar's plan.
Thank you, Peter. My report is in front of you as well. I think I'll just highlight a couple of items and then answer any questions that you might have. I think it's interesting to note the number of registrants that's increased over the last 6 years. And I was sad to see our feeding tube people decreased by 2, even though we only started out with 4. So hopefully there will be more people who are looking at getting that feeding tube insertion registration at some future date. As far as the activities I've commented on here, there are a few that I will be speaking at a greater length in the education session coming after the AGM. And those are particularly around the contract area to do with the various projects we've been working on. And the bylaw amendments, which sound very, very boring, but I think there's actually a few really interesting things coming up with our regulation amendments and our bylaw amendments. And a few activities of the government to do with legislation, changes to the Health Professions Act, and the creation of the Health Profession Review Board about a year, maybe 2 years ago, that we're starting to learn more about. It's having, it has the potential to have a large impact on our college. So I do want to explain what that board is about to you and answer any questions that you might have. As you know, our prime mandate is protection of the public, and to do directly with that, I have spent some time over this last year with our college lawyer on different aspects, and probably primarily to do with the legislation and bylaws, but also to do with potential complaints, dealing with the health profession review board and appeal to that board, and some other activities. So it's very nice to have knowledgeable legal counsel at our fingertips, and we certainly don't overuse Kathy, but it's so nice to know that she's there and that her practice focuses on regulation. So I think that's probably the main thing, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, she's not good.
We're still going through office relocation pains. We're in our new space and have been since the beginning of July, but the whole space wasn't available to us when we moved in. So they're now just creating the last 2 offices for us through the wall, and we can hear them all the time. And by the end of October, we'll be in there and be able to get more organized. And then all of you are invited to drop in and see us at one point or another. So are there any questions at all? You might have more during the education session when I touch on some of these topics more thoroughly. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Fern. All right, on to committee reports. First person to report is Heather Martin from the Registration Committee. Please.
So, hello, I'm Heather Martin. Nice to meet you all. I'll try to be brief as well. We, on the Registration Committee, have routine sorts of works and special projects as part of our mandate. One of our primary jobs is to make recommendations and evaluate the qualifications and upgrading necessary for international applicants to approve labor mobility for people coming from in and out of province, to again assess post-grad applicants and to look at conditions for reinstatement. One thing that it might be interesting for everyone to know is that the Alliance of Dietetic Regulatory Bodies, which is an association of all the colleges and regulatory associations across Canada, has recently agreed that the postgraduate group for membership in dietetic colleges is now requiring a competence in all the scope areas of practice, clinical, community, and food service administration, which is slightly different than it used to be. So that's one thing that we now work within our committee. We look at policies and bylaws to do with our registration practices, and our special projects have been to follow along on the competency self-assessment pilot project, where we're looking at can the process of evaluation be done as well as efficiently and effectively by the person themselves with help from the college as by the committee as it has existed before, wanting to have each person who applies take on, have ownership in their own process. Okay, we review courses for upgrading, and the second project that we've been doing has been to monitor the restricted activities competency project through multiple drafts. One of the things that